Hello and happy Sunday, everyone. Sorry, I don't know that I haven't done these little videos in a while. I guess sorry, depending on whether you like them or not. But yeah, figured, yeah, it's been a while. Might as well do another one of these just because, as usual, mainly due to some online interactions and just thoughts I've been having for a while anyway. Yeah, had some thoughts rattling around in my head about the topic and figured, I should probably let them out for the peoples. Um, but yeah, I think I wanted to talk about today for my little Sunday morning rant or whatever is this idea, usually in response to like atheists, non believers, whatever, using the argument for like the problem of evil, like against the existence of God or just against specific claims about God, or just claiming that, at least in the case of like the Christian God, claims don't make sense due to the existence of evil and suffering in the world. One of the common responses I've seen to this from Christians, and probably people in other religions as well, is that, well, if it weren't for things like evil or pain or suffering or sadness or injustice or whatever, then we wouldn't be able to appreciate, basically the opposites of those, the good, the just, the wonderful, the merciful, the perfect, whatever. Basically saying like, well, without darkness you don't recognize light, or without cold you don't recognize heat, things like that. And I think there's a lot of problems with this line of thinking, but I think chiefly is that I don't know how, and again, this is for certain forms of Christianity, which, at least here in America, seems to be the predominant ones, in evangelicalism, basically, in light of the arguments that things like when God first created the world, it was perfect. Heaven obviously is perfect, and that sin entering the world was like because of disobedience and rebellion, and basically not according to his perfect plan. But but if you're going to argue that all these bad things are necessary in order to recognize and enjoy these good things, then why did God make the world perfect and free of these bad things to begin with? Does that mean that the way he designed it, we weren't able to recognize and enjoy like his goodness and perfection? Like where Adam and Eve there in the gardens, like before sin and death and everything came in the world, did they not fully appreciate God and what in his relationship with them? And then never mind like heaven, like once we, like, if people, like, do the angels in heaven just not recognize how good it is? Or I don't know, is that the excuse you give for like Lucifer's rebellion, whether or not that's actually in the Bible the way most Christians think it is? Regardless, or sorry, getting a little dark here, but I think sometimes you got to use these kind of examples. But let's just say a child who like passes away before they have any conscious experience of like pain or suffering. Then a lot of Christians say, well, people that age, for age of accountability or whatever, they go to heaven. Okay, well, does this person who never really fully experienced like the sufferings and evils of the world, are they going to be able to appreciate heaven? Like, how does this actually work? Because I think the problem is with a lot of these apologetic arguments is they'll just come up with something that works in the moment, because like intuitively that makes sense to us, because we recognize this in a lot of other situations and experiences where, yeah, we don't fully appreciate a good thing without experiencing the bad. Like like I had breakfast this morning, and my coffee here, and it wasn't any kind of like mind-blowingly amazing experience of like having food, because a lot of the meals I have I just take for granted. It's like, yeah, I have food, I eat it for meals. But if I had ever had the experience of starving, like just going without food for extended periods of time, then I would appreciate the meals that I have a lot more. So yeah, that so it makes intuitive sense in certain circumstances, but again, blow it out to like the rest of the claims that they make, including that God had originally created everything, heaven and earth, as perfect and free from these experiences of suffering and pain and evil. then how did God expect us to appreciate it without introducing sin and evil and death into the world? Like, why did he, if these things were needed for us to appreciate the goodness that he has and is and gave us, then why did he punish Adam and Eve for bringing it into the world? Shouldn't he have thanked them for giving us perspective? I don't know. It's just like I said, like so many things, the more and more I keep thinking about it, the less and less it actually makes sense and works. Again, given other claims that Christianity makes about like the nature of God and the world and reality and just how things work. So, but speaking of how things work, that brings up another question. This is something that comes to mind in any such discussion about why the world is the way it is, whether it's, because of the problem of evil, divine hiddenness, like, name your problem. It's like Christians will just say almost like just a given, like, well, this is just how things work. That's just how they had to be. But not seeming to give like full weight to the idea, again, from them, that God created everything as it is, like from scratch, and designed it the way it is. And so you're saying like he couldn't have designed things in such a way that his goodness could be appreciated without all the suffering and evil? Like that seems like an odd claim to make. Plus, even if I were to grant, okay, yes, even if that is the best system to appreciating the good things, you got to go through some hard times to appreciate it. Okay, but how hard of times do you need to go through? Like, how much suffering do you have to endure and experience in order to appreciate good things? Like, does it need to be to the level of things that we see in the world? Like, do we need to have illnesses that make people's like entire life short and just completely full of suffering from beginning to end, with no cure, no improvement, no character building inside? It's like you're born with a thing, you suffer for a few years, and you're dead. Like, what is the point of that? What is the point of, like all the examples they give, like, children having bone cancer, or people being like trafficked, and like all these things? Like, does the suffering need to be that bad for us to appreciate what God has? Like you would think that whatever God is would be so great and so perfect and so beautiful and so wonderful that, like, why would you need something that bad to compare it to? Shouldn't it just be so self-evident that it's good? I don't know. Again, like I said, the more and more you think about it, the more it just does not make any sense. So, but if any of you would like to try to make it make sense to me, yeah, always open for that. But yeah, so yeah, let me know your thoughts, whether it's in the comments, private messages, just want to chat in person. I'm down for any of those kinds of interactions. So yeah, and also let me know if you want me to keep doing these. Looks like I managed to actually make this one shorter, so maybe that would help for people actually watching these. But yeah, if you'd like to see more of these, and whatever, like I put these out on a few different of my pages and platforms or whatever. So yeah, wherever you're watching, let me know if you want to hear more of this from me. So yeah, so that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts. Do we actually need all this like pain and suffering and evil in order to appreciate God's goodness and love and beauty and all that? Or does it need to be to this extent? Yeah, let me know your thoughts. So yeah, see you around. Have a good day.